This week, the United Nations General Assembly is in New York with 137 heads of state moving all over town. No city at any time has a security challenge like that. And this year, it comes as U.S. intelligence is investigating credible information that terrorists want to target New York with a car bomb. After 9/11, New York City decided that it would never leave itself vulnerable to terrorism again. So Ray Kelly, the police commissioner, began to build something unique. Kelly tends to get things done. He was born in New York City 70 years ago, fought with the Marines in Vietnam, joined the NYPD as a cadet, and along the way, picked up a law degree and a master's degree from Harvard. Now, 10 years after 9/11, with an investment of billions of dollars, Kelly has created what he believes is the most powerful and technologically advanced counterterrorism bureau that anyone has ever seen.
The story will continue in a moment.
By air, land, and sea, the nation's largest counterterrorism squad is on the beat in America's largest city. 1,000 officers, many of them armed like soldiers, are part of a presence that is meant to send a message. New York City is too tough a target. NYPD counterterrorism is the creation of Police Commissioner Ray Kelly.
We're the #1 target in this country. That's the consensus of the intelligence community. We're the communications capital. We're the financial capital. We're a city that's been attacked twice successfully. We've had 13 terrorist plots against the city since September 11th. No other city has had that.
Kelly is a classic cop. He started as an NYPD cadet and rose all the way to commissioner. He left the force before 9/11, but within 4 months of the attack, the mayor asked him to come back.
I jumped at the chance.
You knew you needed to do what?
I knew that we had to supplement, buttress our defenses of the city. We couldn't rely on the federal government alone. I believed that we had to create our own counterterrorism capacity, indeed our own counterterrorism division. And that plan was put into effect fairly rapidly. And the reason we're able to do that is this is a hierarchical organization.
You call it a hierarchical kind of organization. In other words, you're the boss.
That's correct. That's the way it works here.
And you've got 50,000 people working for you.
35,000 uniformed police officers, 15,000 civilian employees. That's correct.
His police force is bigger than the FBI because no cop has more to protect than Ray Kelly.
We're going to the UN.
We were with him in his high-tech command truck last Wednesday when he headed to the east side as New York hosted the United Nations General Assembly. He wanted to be there when President Obama arrived. To prepare for those 137 heads of state, Kelly has to understand the threats that all of those foreign leaders have at home, so their local troubles don't play out here.
We have to look abroad. We do that with the Secret Service to see what the issues are in another country. Does that raise the threat level here?
The threat level in New York was already high. Intelligence said that there could be a car bomb attack on the 10th anniversary of 9/11, and that worry had still not been resolved.
All our interior and exterior checkpoints are up and running. Bomb squads completed all the sweeps and the OPs are up.
Kelly had the tower of the UN Secretariat building surrounded. Snipers on the rooftops, divers in the river, helicopters above. Mr. Obama slipped into the UN with the Secret Service under the blanket of the NYPD. All of this came just 10 days after Kelly's team had secured the most sensitive event in the nation.
Francis Asaro.
It was the 9/11 National Memorial on the 10th anniversary of the attack on America. Osama bin Laden had written about attacking again on this very day, and Kelly had more than 8 million New Yorkers to protect. As the names of the fallen were being read, Kelly was watching from his brand new Joint Operations Center. From here, he can see everything. All in one cavernous room, Kelly has representatives from the military, the FBI, Federal Emergency Management, state and local first responders. The center is a symbol of the 10 years and $3 billion that he has spent to prepare for every kind of threat. Are you satisfied that you've dealt with threats from aircraft, even light planes, model planes, that kind of thing?
Well, it's something that's on our radar screen. I mean, in an extreme situation, we would have some means to take down a plane.
Do you mean to say that the NYPD has the means to take down an aircraft?
Yes, I'd prefer not to get into the details, but obviously this would be in a very extreme situation.
You have the equipment and the training?
Yes.
Device in! Go!
Kelly gave us an extraordinary look inside the Counterterrorism Bureau. The training,
Get down! Get down!
like this assault team practicing for a hostage situation in a subway car,
Perp down! One in the back!
and the astounding technology that has been designed and built specifically for the NYPD. We started with the threat that no one wants to imagine, a nuclear device smuggled into the city. Out on the East River, we went along on an NYPD boat that was designed by one of the federal government's nuclear laboratories.
Within the boat itself, we have permanently mounted and installed radiological and nuclear detectors. And the good news is that the detection equipment is very sophisticated and it is very sensitive.
Beyond the water, Kelly has radiation detectors circling the city in helicopters, in trucks down on the street, and thousands of cops have automatic nuclear detectors on their gun belts. The technology is so sensitive, Inspector Mike Riggio told us they often stop pleasure boats for a reason that we found amazing.
We'd pull up alongside the boat, we'd interview, and that lets us find out that, hey, this person may have just had some type of medical procedure.
People who had medical radiation treatments trigger the detectors.
So you like your chances of detecting a dirty bomb or a nuclear device?
Well, we do.
Kelly has built something else that most New Yorkers never see. It is nearly impossible now to walk a block in Lower Manhattan without being on television. There are 2,000 cameras, and soon there will be 3,000, all of which feed into this control center housed in a secret location.
Nobody has a system like this.
Jessica Tisch helps run this $150 million surveillance system that monitors the cameras and all those radiation detectors. A powerful computer using artificial intelligence actually watches all of the cameras at once, and it knows if a package has been left in one place too long.
The camera has identified that this is the shape and the size of a potentially suspicious unattended package. It's narrowing in on it.
And it counted how long that bag was motionless.
Right.
And this center will call a patrol officer and say, hey, go check out that bag.
Absolutely.
Look what happened last year when the cameras picked up a bag dropped outside the New York Stock Exchange. Within minutes, the bomb squad moved in. They used a portable X-ray to look inside, and then the bomb tech crawled up to open it.
Thank God it's someone who dropped their lunch.
Somebody's lunch. It's not just lunch bags and suspicious packages that catch the computer's eyes. Tisch showed us how the system can search for a suspicious person based on a description. A red shirt, for example.
And I can call up in real time all instances where a camera caught someone wearing a red shirt.
So the computer looks essentially through all the video, finds all of the red shirts, and puts it together for you.
Video canvases that used to take days and weeks to do, you'll now be able to do with the snap of a finger.
But the most important part of counterterrorism isn't technology. It's cops on the ground gathering intelligence. Kelly's force speaks 60 languages and dialects, and he has his own intelligence officers all around the world.
Abu Dhabi, they're in Amman, Jordan. They are in Lyon, France, which is where Interpol is located. They're in Paris, Madrid, Tel Aviv, London, in Montreal, Toronto, Singapore, and the Dominican Republic.
Why do you have New York City cops in all those cities?
they're there to act as tripwires or listening posts. Is there anything going on there that, as I say, can help us better protect the city?
When terrorists strike overseas, as they did here in Madrid in 2004, NYPD cops respond and send intelligence back in real time. In Madrid, Kelly's officers learned that bombs placed on the trains were assembled near the stations. Immediately in New York, security was tightened in the neighborhoods around the subways. In Mumbai, India, in 2006, the NYPD saw that the bombs on trains had been left in overhead racks. That morning, in New York, the cops zeroed in on the luggage racks in mass transit. When Mumbai was hit again, hotels were taken hostage. The NYPD discovered that Indian police didn't have the layout of the hotel interiors, so Kelly's intelligence unit has now built a video library of the hallways, walkways, and doorways of 700 New York City hotels. Kelly told us that good intelligence stopped a post-9/11 attack on one of the city's greatest landmarks.
We had received information in some communications that the bridge in the Godzilla movie was being observed, a possible target.
That's the conversation that the terrorists were having.
That's
that
right.
They were interested in the bridge.
That's how they characterized the bridge.
I see. And so somebody got a copy of the Godzilla movie and said, wait a minute, that's the Brooklyn Bridge.
Sure.
Kelly laid on extra security, and the next intercepted call from the terrorists said, the weather in New York is too hot. In other words, too many cops. Part of the strategy is to put force on display. At random, 100 police cars will swarm part of town just to make a scene. It happens with complete unpredictability. Cops signal subway trains to stop to be searched, and sometimes they hold the trains until they've eyeballed every passenger. Of all the things the counterterrorism squad thought of, this one really impressed us. It's the NYPD Cricket League. 12 teams, 200 kids, all because cricket is the national pastime of Pakistan. NYPD Inspector Amin Kasim started the program.
Back in the old days, we played baseball, basketball with the kids, but as we have these new immigrant communities come from overseas, we have to find the sports that they love, that they genuinely love. Cricket is the sport the South Asian community loves.
Hundreds of Muslim immigrant parents now have their kids playing for the NYPD. The trouble with counterterrorism is that the cops have to bat 1,000 every day. The terrorists only have to get through once. And it very nearly happened on Kelly's watch last year when a Pakistani terrorist parked a car bomb in Times Square. This was the scene after a street vendor saw smoke coming out of the car and called a cop. The bomb squad discovered the bomb and defused it. Later, the FBI built a bomb just like it to see what would have happened.
We've been lucky, but we've been good. And certainly as far as the Times Square bombing is concerned, we were lucky. And we'll take luck anytime.
What message do you have for the potential terrorists out there who have their eye on New York City?
You know, if you see the movie Casablanca, and you have Humphrey Bogart talking to Colonel Strasser, and he says that he would advise the Nazis to think twice about invading certain parts of New York City.
How about New York? Well, there are certain sections of New York, Major, that I wouldn't advise you to try to invade.
Well, that's our message. Stay away.